was like, this is the perfect way to die, you know. This was really like, actually, I would be real, like very serious. I'm now was really thinking in my head, like, this is the perfect way I'm gonna die. And even if they kill me, all of the newspaper will say he died because he shared.
Yeah. Well, dear friends, today I have a special treat. I'm going to be talking to a young chap, actually, that I met about a month ago at a conference in Rome. He's not Italian. He is from Bosnia. His name is Normin Kovac. And when I met him, he had a very interesting story. He shared a few things with me that kind of touched my heart. So I wanted to have a chance to kind of go back and forth with him this morning and bring him to your attention as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is Normin Kovac. Welcome.
Hello, thank you. So, as you mentioned, my name is Nermin Kovac. I come from Bosnia. I'm 23 years old, and I gave my life to Jesus 4 years ago. My story is quite long, but everything, you know, the way God has led me to Him and how He took care of me through my life is something really, for me, valuable and precious. And so,
Well, it's
yeah.
mainly unusual. It's mainly unusual because we started to talk, you mentioned, tell us a little bit about your upbringing because basically you were abandoned by your family.
Yes, exactly. So I grew up and I was born in a Muslim background family.
So this is
From
all post-war, obviously, because the war was 92, 95, wasn't it, in
Yeah.
Bosnia?
So yes. So I wasn't born in the wartime. So
Yeah.
it's quite after, and I'm 2002. So
Yeah. Okay.
I was born in a Muslim family. So by the age of 8, you are already going to the mosque, reading Quran, doing the practices, going to like the school they have, in the mosque for kids. At this one time, I was around the age of 10. My family started going through some issues between them. My father and my mother, their marriage didn't go as well. So at one point, my father was turning a bit aggressive, pushing on this aggressive side, which made me sometimes and often feel like scared. I didn't want to see this. I didn't want to, So two times, first time I ran away from my home. I come back and
Well, how old were you when you ran away the first time?
this was 10. This was 10, around like 9, 10. And the second
And when
time,
you ran away, did you have a place to go or you just decided, I'm going to get out of the house?
first time I just got out of the house. I said, I don't want to speak with them the whole day. I don't want to,
Okay.
The second time I tried to come back. Like the first time I did like after, like late at night. And then my father said, I don't want you in my home. I don't want anything to do with you. You ran away. Go find your way. So this kind of led me to end up on the street. And this is how kind of, man, like how my family has abandoned me, from this early age. So that influenced a lot of the things in my life. At that point, you lose everything. It's the time when you're like making decisions. I needed to go to school. I needed to like sleep, eat. You really need attention. It was hard.
Where did you go? Where did you go? On the bridges? Where did you go?
At the first, I went to this one friend, but he was living alone with his mother. So she's a single mother and she would like take care of us for this time, but she was working in a fast food like restaurant. I was staying with them for a week. Bosnians, we are born with this, not like shame, but like, so I said like, I can't live here. Like she's taking care of us both. So I went out to the street. I went.
Kind of a sense of pride. I don't want to be on the shoulder of somebody else. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, some sort of like that, but
Okay.
also like I was feeling sorry for her. So then I went out in the street, park benches, for some time, and then walking around, meeting some random people, sometimes staying at their places, and this how it was going.
How about food? You just beg for food? You rob? What do you do?
I didn't like wanted to rob. Sometimes like people would offer. Sometimes there was nights where I couldn't, like eat something. Sometimes I would buy some candy that would last me for like a week straight. I still remember, I don't know what's the name of those, but they're like tiny waffles with honey. And I would eat one by one every single day. I would eat one. And they had like a 10 in a bag. I still remember those and I still find them in the stores. And that's like, for me, that was the one that,
The lights. Yeah. Okay. Oh boy. So people who actually bring you money because they saw you out there on the benches, or I mean, money or food? I don't know.
Mostly food, mostly food.
Okay.
Like for money it was hard, you couldn't, people wouldn't just like, offer. And I didn't try to ask for money. In my heart, I also believe like, okay, I could like find a way to earn this money. They mostly helped out with the food and everything.
What about police? Didn't the police see you and say, no, what is this kid, young kid, 10 years old, doing on the street?
So interesting. One thing that was going on in my heart. Yes, police quite often ran onto me, and I never said like, yeah, my family kicked me out of the street. I still tried to like keep my family like protected from everything that's going on. I could have said it, but in my heart I was like, I don't want to put shame on my family. But they never gave me trouble. They saw me on the street quite a while, but during some time when they, even if they check me up, they see I don't have nothing, I don't have drugs, I don't. So they're like, we don't have need to stop this kid
Yeah,
at
he's
all.
clean. He's clean.
Exactly.
He's broke, but he's clean.
He's broke, but he's clean. Exactly.
Okay. And then what happened? How long were you on the street for?
That was going on for like almost a year, I would say. Yeah, it was almost a year, and then one day, until this American family, they like basically invited me. They first offered me a meal. I said, sure. And during some time, I would stay with them, be with them, and then one day they brought me to their house. I had a meal, and basically they had like an upper room, and they were like, here is your like house, if you want to stay, like we'll. And they took care of me. Like they would make breakfast, I would go to my school from their house. They took care absolutely
So
everything.
during the 1 year you went to school, you didn't cut off school?
So I cut off for like some time, and the
Okay.
teachers actually noticed that I was missing out. But also I did my school quite well,
Okay.
so they didn't like push me much. But as soon as I got back, it was fine. But yeah, I missed this one big part of the school because of the things that were going on.
Okay. And this family that took you in, did they have kids or not?
They had kids. They were an older American couple, and they were missionaries in Bosnia, and they had older kids. So most of their kids were actually in the America by the time I was there.
So they took you in, you were in the upper room, then what happened?
And then they started like, they took care of me. And during some time, like I would come back from school or something, I would see, they're having like Bible studies, they are, like they are reading, but they never pushed this on me. They were there just doing their thing. So I was brought up with the Muslim, side. And when you are like a Muslim kid, like when you straight go to the mosque here, they teach you already how to debate with the Christian. So my question was always me proving them Allah is the right God. It's not Jesus. So this was my side. This was coming from my side. So it made me even like go deeper in Islam just to prove them wrong. Even though they were taking care of me, I still was kind of just, I can't say annoying, but I really wanted to prove them wrong. So during some time, they had the Bible studies, people were coming in. And one thing interesting, I find very interesting, which is like really connected to my life right now. One day I come back from school and I tell them, okay, I think Jesus might be God. And they are like, hallelujah, everything. And one interesting question this guy had for me was like, okay, so if you would ever serve God, and for me, serving point wasn't clear enough back then, like how do I serve God?
Yeah.
Like, what would you do? And I said, I like photography, and I never had money to afford but I really love this. And they were like, how would you do it? So I said, I would take photos of people and I would tell them about God. I would tell them about Jesus. In 2 days, they go and they buy me a camera. So that's my first camera. I still carry it with me till this day. And then the rest of my story continues.
So then they bought you the camera, you still have that camera. Are you still taking pictures?
Yes, I still take the pictures, and it's
How
what's
many years are we talking about now? Because this happened a while back.
yeah. So like now would be like around almost, I can say, 10 years, like 10
Wow.
years doing, yeah. So since early age, I started doing photography with the camera they bought me, and it's going like for
You have an
real.
upgrade. It's time for an upgrade.
Okay, one
10
incident
years.
that
Well, I
happened.
guess there are some classic. They take some good pictures. So maybe time to change the lenses.
Look. But I have the new camera here. It's actually here.
Uh-huh.
Like, so it's also like how God took care of this.
Uh-huh.
Like during this year, something happened. I was in this ex-alcoholic drug ministry in the another city. Somebody break into my room. They crashed all of my equipment, and like I was left without anything. So
So hang on. So the family, how come you moved away from the family house? Because they moved, the missionary moved, or what?
no. I moved to a different city now.
Oh, why?
I
Why did
yeah.
you move?
That's also a long story.
I mean,
But
you had a great place. You had Christian family that took you in.
okay, no. Okay, now I'm saying yeah. But I was in a okay. This is like out of the story. So the new camera I got happened like recently, and also where they broke my equipment is already I was a Christian.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so that was like quite a
More
like
recent.
year
Okay.
ago. This happened that
Okay.
they broke in and broke my equipment.
So let's go back to your family then. How did you become a Christian then?
Okay, so they gave me this camera and I tell them like this, I would share Jesus. And of course that's not what I did, like that was potentially going on in my head, but I started doing photography and I started taking photos, and some people that are like big in a media industry in Bosnia, they kind of recognize my work. So I did like photos for some rappers, from some artists during the like my youngest age, like 15, 16, so this kind of brought my, how do you call this, like influence. When I would go to a city as a young boy, they already recognized me as a photographer. They would say, it's a photographer,
At that age, that's great.
yeah. So during this time, I'm doing photography and I started earning a bit of money, like slowly. And this American family, when I turned 18, they had to go back to America. So everything was going on, like the COVID and then the president. And so, they went back. So now I'm like on my own. I'm living my own life. They went back. I'm not talking about God anymore with them or like these sort of things. I don't have this conception. And because the things I was doing, like idea of God was so far away in my head, because I thought like, okay, I'm earning a lot of money. I'm going to my high school. I don't like care about this stuff. So I was quite well. But the people that have noticed my work, like they started like letting me enter this company. It's a company of a big, like a group, videographers, photographers that are doing very good job. But of course, then you enter the world of drugs, and then I go out and then, girls, hanging out with girls, clubbings, because you take photos of in a lot of clubs. So every night
Still
you are.
underage, aren't you? You're still underage.
I was like 18 at this point. Like even in Bosnia, like there's no restrictions. Like you can be a very young guy,
And go
but
clubbing? Yeah,
yeah,
I don't care.
and there was no problem.
Drinking, the same.
Yeah, same thing. So I started like slowly. I started like smoking weed. Then it went to amphetamine. I started using amphetamine. Like I couldn't sleep like for 7 days straight. We were just like doing work, photography. I got my own place. I thought I could pay this off. I was so well in high school, but like my last year was so much struggle because I was missing out. I was working a lot, trying to catch up on all the stuff. So I went to like this pretty dark spot in my life.
And did you ever think, wait a minute, they got the camera so that I could witness about Christ. So you did the first part, you got the camera, but you completely forgot the second part.
Exactly.
What happened to that?
Sometimes this was still like going on in my head, but I think and I see how God took this as a connection of knowing my heart. He knew that I will drive off with this thing. He knew that I will, go into
Make
this.
an idol out of it.
Exactly, until he brings me back. And this, one point, so I'll actually get to the part where I'm meeting, Jesus. So now it's me doing the photography. I'm with the, like these famous guys. I'm taking photos of concerts. I also worked on the side, like I was like repairing computers and this type of stuff. I was actually like employed in a company, and I just finished my high school. So for me, everything is going well. I had like a girlfriend at this time, and then at one point, my life just started like crumbling. I think God was just closing every single door. And first of all, like this group that I was in, getting this influence from, they started like pushing me back. Like, we don't need a photographer right now. We don't have job. We'll call you when you do. And then, this took some long time. So I'm starting to lose my influence, but also losing my side money. And then I go to work one day, but because I would stay up all night on drugs, I go to my work, and my boss one day, he's just like, here's the paper. I have to get you fired. Like, you show up late. You are not doing very well. I see this. And I'm like, there, okay. So I signed this paper. I'm out of work. I go back home, and my girlfriend at the time, she's like, I don't think we can do this anymore. You're doing drugs, then all of these problems. We're always arguing, everything. This also finished. And my life just started like getting worse. I got to the point where I was so desperate. I went to my original like blood family, the Muslim family. I like wanted to reach out to them. And the day I went there, my father like stood at the door, and my mother was there, and they were, we don't want to have anything with you. We don't care.
So you haven't spoken to them, you haven't reached out to them for
During this time,
8 years.
when I got my work, like in this computer store, my mother tried to reach out for me. My mother would come in front of my office, and she tried to make this connection. But I think it was the way that I was hurted. Like, after all these years, you come when I have a work, when I'm doing very well. And this day, she comes to specifically tell me that one guy wants to have a coffee with me. Like, he's seen her, and so I'm in my head, I'm not thinking about this guy. But what's funny, it's actually very important. This guy name is Samir, but I will get to him and what happened actually with the guy. So he wanted to have a coffee with me. He reached out to my mother. They know like what I'm doing, what's happening. So, but now I'm at the door of my family. They don't want to have anything with me, and I'm thinking, yeah, there's no point that I live anymore. I'm finishing this. My family don't want me. I lost everything. I also had a loan in a bank, which was like not big, but for me it was big. The guy that don't have nothing, and then the bank is calling like, you have to give it back. So such a, like, for me, terrible, scary thing. I first experienced.
Pressure from all sides. The girlfriend
Exactly.
that dumps you, the bank that wants the money, the family that doesn't want you. You feel like nothing.
Exactly. So also I can say this is the moment where I felt like the most abandoned by everyone, not just like by my family, but my friends, the people, even the things I had idol in, like photography, everything went away. So
A
what?
failure at 360 degrees.
Yes. So who is here now? And then I go to this specific place. It's called like Ushche. So it's like a side river walk alley. And I go there. I sat on a bench, and I said, like, if a person like passes by, I'm not going to kill myself. And irony of that is that nobody passes by. So I enter the river, and in thoughts, I'm gonna finish my own life. So I am
Drowning. By drowning, just jumping in
exactly
the river.
exactly.
That's
So
a that's a terrible way of doing it. That's slow. That's slow and bad. If you do it, you should do it quick. Anyways, okay.
that's true. That's
Is
true.
it
But
cold water? Is it very cold water?
yes, it was. So it was like December time.
Oh
So
yeah.
pretty cold water, river, and the stream. So the stream goes up even higher because all of the snow that's melting. So I knew like, okay,
Yeah,
on
I mean,
the
start to drown yourself in 10 inches of water, but anyway. Okay.
I was like, yeah, I can't, but the moment I go in deeper, like, I know the river flow is so strong, and what happened before, like with people, the stream would pull them under the rocks, and this is how people committed suicide. So I went there, I want to do this, and I entered the river. I'm like over waist, in the water. It's cold, and in this moment, I feel the voice that tells me, go back. So I had like this still small apartment that I had that the boss is kicking me out, but I hear the voice, go back to your apartment and open the closet. And I'm stuck there, and I'm like, okay, I'm going crazy. Like, this is drugs. I'm scared. What am I doing? So I step in to like finish this because I think I'm already going crazy now. Now it's a point. Now it's the time I should do this. So I step in one more, and then I feel this big peace that comes over me that tells me the same exact thing. And I'm like, okay. So I get out of the water and I go directly back to my apartment. I'm wet. I'm going down the street. People are looking at me. Everyone is like, what's with this boy? But my only task is to come to this closet to see what's inside. So I go there. The boss of the apartment isn't there by the provision of God because he wouldn't let me in. He was already this, my stuff was out. But I open a closet. I go inside. I open a closet, and inside was the box, like an old box that was carrying some stuff in. And when I opened, I found the Bible that the American missionaries left out for me. This Bible had like a cover on the front, so like nobody could see that it's a cross. So, it was very well protected,
Yeah.
yeah, from the environment. And I opened the Bible, and just like presence of God came on me, like the peace. And I still don't know the words to express this, but the presence of God came on me. I felt like everything in my body and is like burning, all of the things is just like being out. So I'm like there crying and yelling at God, to help me out. Now I'm also like a bit of scared because this is the first time I'm meeting Jesus. My whole life, Allah, the picture of God was Allah, somebody far away from me that I didn't know personally, and now I'm experiencing this, and I'm like a bit of
It's a
confused.
huge shift because the other Allah is vindicative, is unapproachable, is cold, is demanding, and all of a sudden you're feeling the warmth of the love, which is completely different. Yeah.
And I feel this presence of God, and I start to say, okay, Jesus, if you are God, you will get me out of this spot. Like, you will get me out of this situation. What happens is the next day I go to a shopping center, and now I'll get to the point about the guy that my
Yeah.
mom
Yeah.
wanted to have a coffee with. So his name was going on in my head still, like even during this moment. And I see this guy, and I approached him. In my head, he was a soccer player. I remember him as a soccer player. I know he was a very well, so I wanted just to say hello to him. And while I was approaching to say hi, he just looked at me and he said, God has a beautiful plan for your life. And I just started crying, like, how can he know? And I didn't know that God, Jesus, has transformed his life during this time while I was off. And he meets me there, and then he takes me to the church. And then my life on with Jesus continues.
So how long ago are we talking about now?
4 years. So this happened 4 years ago.
And then once you had that change, what happened with the job? What happened with the girlfriend? What happened with
So
family? What happened?
one of the,
Probably your family is even worse now.
yeah, yeah. So what happened? He took care of me for like a month. I was with him, with his family, staying there, kind of getting back. I was like so skinny. I had like 50 kilos, even less, because
Now
the
he's a
job.
Bosnian. He's a local guy.
Yeah, he's the local guy.
Okay.
So, I'm like skinny and he's taking care of me. I'm mentally like trying to recover everything, but also with him, I was deep in the word. I had a chance to, build up my relationship with God. And then I was taking care, like ex-alcoholics, drug addict spot. At this time, nobody there. This used to be like everybody there. My pastor from this city. So that's like the project of the church they have, this is how they help people. So I got there and I was alone at the beginning, but then a lot of guys started joining. I had opportunity to like share with them the gospel. One boy like converted, things started happening, but I spent my time in this, like house.
Let me interrupt you for a second. You just came to faith yourself because you had that encounter.
Yeah,
Okay. But you are not biblically sound yet, I assume,
yeah,
right? So
yeah.
you have an experience, it's an epiphany, it's a revelation, something happens, just like Paul. And then you really don't have, technically speaking, the background to bring a message to others. So are you just sharing your experience with them? What are
So
you sharing with them? And I'm just saying this because I want to make a point. Sometimes people are saying, well, I'm not theologically sound, I'm not theologically prepared, therefore I'm not going to go out and witness. I got to wait, I got to take classes, I got to take school, I got to do this, I got to do that, and they never start, right? And then some might have an experience, they share their experience, they go like crazy, but then they can also go off into some weird tangents because they're seeking seeking more of the experience, more of the mystical,
Exactly.
which is becoming a problem nowadays. A lot of people are looking for the mystical. Give me the experience. So there has to be a healthy balance between the two.
True.
So how did you come about that?
So for me, as you said, like in the very beginning, the what I have experienced, I could have stand like very firm and being absolutely sure that God can move and that I'm there to share this story, to share what happened in my life. But the moment God has encountered me, it's like this revelation just in my head. All of the things I knew about Islam, they are now different. But it's like I'm having the right language to speak with them, to speak with the people. So this is how like I felt that made me to testify to everyone. And because God has did like something very like this experience, I was being like very sure, on fire. Okay, I can do this everywhere. Like I can share my story. Yes, after some time I went through this like silence, period where I was getting used. Okay, it's not everywhere that I'm gonna be God is gonna meet everywhere with people I'm showing up. The thing God has done for me kind of made me encouraged to go out boldly to testify to people. So at the beginning I shared it everywhere, even the dangers it brought. I really trusted, okay, God is with me, God will help me with this.
When you're saying
During
danger because of the persecution by the Muslim or what?
persecution and also like the rejection from everyone. But personally, in my head, this wasn't, a thing anymore. Like it's kind of like I didn't care. Like whatever happens with me, the point is I want to share because I've been through all of this and now like I really don't care about my life. I want to share
You
the
have been
gospel.
sleeping in the benches, you have been soaking in the river ready to die, so who cares, right?
Yes, I was like, this is the perfect way to die,
Yeah, yeah.
This was really like, actually, I would be real, like, very serious. I'm now, was really thinking in my head, like, this is the perfect way I'm gonna die. And even if they kill me, all of the newspaper will say he died
A
because he shared.
martyr, yeah.
I was like, beautiful.
Yeah.
So then I started also like what happened like during this time, 2 months after, I go to my old neighborhood and I meet these guys, on drugs and everything. Like I wanted to share. I was passing by them. I was trying to stay off, to like don't see them. And then I felt God told me go there. It's like, how can I do this? I know like I seen you, I was going everywhere, but like this, it's too much. But the peace he gave me, I went there. I started telling these guys about Jesus, and the tension got so bad. Like, and at one point, this one guy, he stands up, he has like the bat in the hand, like the metal pipe. He came like this close to my face because I was sharing just the love of God, how he changed my life. And he stands so close to my face. I was like, it's gonna start now. Like he's gonna hit me. They're all gonna hit me. And then at that moment, I felt peace, and God is like, I'm with you. And the guy just gives out his hand to me and he says, you have like the guts to show up here and to tell us about this. And they sat down and they were like, tell us about this Jesus. Because for them, Jesus, they connect with the war, with what happened with the people and all the bad stuff. And now they're like, they're just, okay, tell us about this. And like occasions like this made me, more encouraged. It's that God was everywhere I would like preach or like share, is I could have seen God being there with me. So this kind of always encouraged me to go on, to never stop. But I did went through period where it was just like, blank and like what's happening. But I think those periods where God was doing something in my heart, in like in my spirit to just, guide me for some next things that are gonna come up in life.
So then, what are you doing now?
First of all, I've been at this farm with the boys, like sharing the gospel with them, spending time with them. Then I started working on other church project, which is daily care for kids.
So that's a working farm where you grow food, you grow fruit and
Exactly. Yeah.
vegetable and raise
Yes.
animal, whatever.
Yeah.
So what,
And
you're trading room and board for working there, or?
no, it's like most of like the guys from the street come there, they're being taken care of, fed. They're usually like young boys from the street who come there, or older guys, and then they had opportunity, to work, to earn some money, but also to be presented the gospel. So I did this. Then I did work with the kids
Which
for.
organization is behind that?
So the place is called Grace Valley. It's in Zenica in Bosnia, and my like pastor has friends and Christian people who support this work. For
Okay, so
long.
the church is like my church. My church does the same. They were donated a piece of land. They start cultivating. They start bringing in people that were on the street and basically say,
Yeah,
hey, you have room and board. Here's your job. Cultivate, raise the animal, and here's the gospel. And so they clean you
exactly,
up because it's a remote place, so you don't have any contact with the world.
exactly.
So you don't have the
Ex-
contact with the dealer, you don't have a contact with the pimp or whatever,
Yeah,
right? And then when you are stable, they bring you back to society.
yeah.
And it's a church that is doing it. It's not an organization, but I know that there are organizations that do that as well. So I was wondering. Okay, so is
Yeah.
your church doing that? Okay, go on.
Yeah. Then I started working in a daily care, which is also like a project from kids. So they're working with socially vulnerable kids, who come from like destroyed families. And there's like 40, 50 kids attending there every day, and the food is like from the farm. So they're like
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
everything is taken care of. And I started working there as a educator. I was there for like 3 years, so until almost like last year I was there. I work with the kids during the day. After the day I'm with people also like ex-drug addicts, and all the time my head is like, and Bosnia, if you know, there's not many Christians. So I was kind of alone going back and forth, And when I don't have a person or something, yes, I had Jesus that gave me peace during this time. But for me, was like I'm starting to get a bit of, hard to like really stay here and do this. Like I did it for 3 years. So my brain at one point was really, and then this happened with my equipment. They broke like my laptops, my computers. I lost everything. And that's the point where I decided to move to another city in Bosnia. I'm in another church right now, and soon I'm planning to go full time. So I shared with you yesterday, I really want to serve, stay in Bosnia, serve, reach the youngs, reach the, local people, to share the gospel here in Bosnia. And I really believe also that youth now is very open to the gospel. So now I changed in this city, currently doing nothing but like preparing for the, I'm serving, of course. I will go actually to the old city. It's not that I have issue with them. I'll go actually to this city to help out the church with the guys from the street. I'm going tomorrow. So we will stay with the boys, from the street, help out, share the gospel with them, spend some time. But I just moved to kind of focus on what is God doing in my heart, was the God that gave me the vision, what to do next, what are the next steps for it.
And I assume that those kids that are on the street, knowing your story, they relate more because you've been through it. So you know how the story can end. You either end in the river or you end up with a new life in
Yeah.
Christ, right? So, how do you see yourself going forward? I mean, you said that you want to do this full time. You want to do this full time with the church, with an organization. How do you want to do that?
Okay, so I'm going right now. I will become a part of one mission organization that's right now in Bosnia. They're called OM.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Operation Mobilization, sure.
exactly. So for and also
Get on the Mercy ship so you get to travel.
and also with the Apostolic Church in together. There's my vision for the open space for youth all together to start getting work, with this, to for me to be able to be like full time in this. And of course, like this fundraising and everything, there's a lot of things that have to be settled before this, because as a local in Bosnian, it's not possible, get the support. It's insane.
Tell you one thing, God is faithful
Exactly.
because he called us into ministry back in 2000. So you weren't even born. And I come from a world that is completely different, world of high finance. So when they told me how it worked, I said, no, what in the world? The bottom line is you depend on God, not on Americans, not on Italian, not on Bosnian. Depend on him. and he does provide. You know, we've been at it for 26 years. So he is faithful. You know, if he calls you, he's faithful. Some
Amen.
people call themselves, which is different.
Yeah.
So you have to look at the motivation of your heart. You know,
Yeah.
why do I want to do this?
Why do I want to?
You know, you don't want to do missionary because you are defaulting into a job because you cannot get another job. So I'm excited for you. You know, it's gonna be a great journey. What about training
Like in what sense? Wait.
in discipleship?
In discipleship, okay. So I'm being discipled, like also with the help of the church from Italy. But in the tense, I'm being discipled by with the OM team right now. They're taking care of me about spiritual help, discipleship. But also last year I was in a mission school in Germany, which I plan to remain in. This year I was invited as a voluntary. The name of the school is Steiger. It's a mission organization that mobilizes young youth to reach out the gospel in a really relevant way to the people, to the young global culture. So last year I was equipped, with some knowledge to go out, be more intentional with the gospel, and also like to be relevant, to kind of know the culture, to kind of see more deeply. So this helped me a lot. But yeah, it's the church, local church, some people, and this school that helps me out.
You mentioned being relevant, and one thing that you described in the situation with those drug addicts was the fact that you took the courage and the time to go in a place that was, in essence, dangerous, but you still took your chances because you knew who was behind your back, who had your back. Right? So the obstacle that is in front of you is never greater than the person is behind you.
Amen. Amen.
If you keep that in mind, then it gives you that power to go forth. But probably what those guys perceive was your love. You know, you're taking the time to come to us, risking to bring this message. So it must be a valuable message. You know, so if you keep that perspective, I think you're going to do great. So caring for others, sometimes, we get so involved in the headiness of things, well, I want to communicate information. Yes, there is a place for that, but I think if you're communicating love, especially with the Muslim population, if you're communicating the love of Christ, that resonates with anyone.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're Chinese, Italian, Bosnian, American, doesn't matter, because there is a lot of loneliness out there, unfortunately, nowadays. So that is awesome. Anything else that you want to give as encouragement to some young chaps that are going down the wrong path?
Well, what I want to say is that no matter who, and there's this in Psalms, like even if my like parents abandon me, I will stay with you and God will be with you. So what I want to tell you that, and I think this is like people hear everywhere, but the depth of it, it's so strong that you are not alone, and that no matter what's happening in your life, no matter how lost you are, no matter how deep you are, and people is to know that God is right there for you, and you can't be that broken for him not to take you in and carry you. And it's only if you call out on his name, and if you call out on Jesus, and if you invite him in his life, that you will see the miracle, and you will see that God is faithful, as we just shared.
One quick curiosity. Parents, what happened to your parents that you never reestablished a relationship?
So what happened? I'm already 2 years in Christianity, like I'm saying now to give you back. So 2 years, there's this one conference in Sarajevo, in the capital city. I go to, there's like Turkish people. They had this hard school thing going on. And I went there. They had like a prophetic team. So I go there, and this one guy tells me, you have to go back to your father and you have to apologize.
Ooh.
And I'm like, there, how do I go to my father and I apologize for what? So
After what he did to me.
what he did to me, but he's like, not just you will apologize, but also it will help you like forgive him for, in order, because my question was always going on in my head, and I kind of put this on myself. I was always saying, I'm not gonna be like my father. I'm not gonna be, I had this weight that was with me, that was really stuck with me. But I was really convicted by what this guy, just shared with me. So I'm going back to my home. I'm like carrying this from one city to another, like so deep. Like I'm going to apologize to my father. One interesting thing is like one missionary here like handed out to me a shirt. It's like a flowerish, like summer vibe shirt that I go to my parents and I'm like, I'm going to apologize. I'm entering my gate of the house and my mother is already smiling. And I'm thinking, okay, now she'll say, it's this guy with the Jesus again. Because at this point, they already knew. My father rejected it. Some very terrible stuff happened. They didn't want to have anything connection. They really just, even when they heard, they pushed me aside. So I go there. She's smiling. I think, yeah, she's now in her head. But she tells me the same shirt you are wearing right now, your father wore when we were like dating, when we met. And this like opened a bridge. So I'm like, there's no, like, this is not coincidence. So she wants to get a photo, but she says, like, come in, see. And there's my father, like, he's sitting there, having coffee. And of course, like, we had this tension going on because he now also knew that I'm Christian. So this also brought to him a lot of shame because he's a Muslim. So even he didn't have any involvement with me, this really was a weight for him. So I'm there, I sit down with him, and we opened up a conversation. We actually managed to give each other a hug because my father is also like a very serious person, like very hard, to, but this became a bridge for me to come to my family, like to sit, have a dinner with me. Of course, my father said, like, I'm not gonna allow you to share the gospel or like these things with us here in this household, but you can come like with us to have a meal, to sit down together.
That's huge. I mean, for a Muslim, that is huge. So he must not be a very fundamental Muslim.
Yeah.
He must be kind of a nominal Muslim.
So yeah, so now it's like I have this connection with them. I get to go meet them. Like I go a few times a month, just to see them. And yeah, that's the thing we are going now. I'm praying for my family to meet the Jesus. That's for me something in my heart. So everyone can pray for that. And yeah, this is
Awesome, awesome. Well, thanks for your time, Norman. I appreciate it, and kind of fun to get to know you a little more.
yeah,
Path will cross again. Who knows? Whether
yeah.
you come to Italy or I might end up over there. I don't know. Been through Bosnia once only, but God's ways are not our ways, right?
Exactly, absolutely.
Yes.
You are always welcome. You're always welcome here in Bosnia anytime.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for
Okay. Ciao. Bye bye.
bye.